reduce any major lead. We saw what happened last time. That was against Washington. And they had, true, a pass rush that definitely got in and around Carson Wentz to make things difficult. But Aaron Donald alone is enough to wreak some serious havoc. And I don't know, again, how he slows down. It's like trying to get a couple of things to jump and really jump start, but jump from 1 week of not happening or 1 week of something consistently happening and then stopping all of a sudden. I mean, what? How does that happen? How does all of a sudden Aaron Donald become neutralized in this game? Because Lane Johnson's back? Well, we already know that there were conflicting beliefs of that report from people who are covering the team. And it, at the very least, tells me that he's still playing. Clearly, he's still playing hurt, but it's enough that could take him out of the game faster than predicted. So it's not something that I can immediately sit and rejoice and then stand up and start cheering that, oh, the Eagles got this one locked up, man. Lane Johnson's back. No, not yet. Not until we see flow of the game. Not until we see how they handle the onslaught, the monster that's Aaron Donald, who was doing everything he wanted, no matter how many Dallas Cowboys offensive linemen got in his face, or running back for that matter. So I don't know where this idea comes from that all of a sudden the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line is going to neutralize Aaron Donald or even slow him down. The man is on an absolute tear after one game. It's not like he's going to be tired. It's not like, man, this is week 12 right now. How much longer can Aaron Donald keep up that pace? And this is ridiculous. He's been dominating offensive lines now for 8 weeks. This is week 2. That's it, the second week. We're not going to see anything remotely close to him slowing down. If anything, this might be the ramp-up period where he went from last week just pushing people around to now continuing to, but if you want to add a tight end to the equation, go ahead. Instead of 2 guys, maybe he's ready for 3. It's, at this point, pretty absurd and comical if you're not rooting for the Eagles. But for us, it's not comical. For anybody outside of it, I don't know how you can't laugh at it. To think that all of a sudden there is going to be some sort of game. There's no game plan around that, okay? Look, I get it. We can make fun of the Cowboys all you want. Mike McCarthy definitely had 2 big blunders, and I'm here for it all. But come on. You're telling me that there was a game plan and a half, that something was executed properly by that offense? You can't game plan for Aaron Donald. You can have an idea of where he is on the field and where he's lining up and which player has now a new responsibility in trying to get in front of him and not steamrolled over, but there's no game plan for it. You just close your eyes, cross your fingers, rub the rabbit's foot, and hope that sucker works. That's it. Like, that's all you really do, is just hope that there are enough people in front of him where he's not just pushing the entire offensive line over. This game here, stay as far away from it as possible. I'm definitely going to, I don't know if I can get away with this tomorrow night on, or technically Friday night, sorry, on Props and Locks. Fox 29, 10:30 at night, should be locked in. At least DVR ready, that thing, man. Yeah, come on, out there. You've got a DVR. I don't even have cable anymore. I've cut my cord for years. I run YouTube TV. Even I have a DVR on that thing. So it might not even be called a DVR anymore, but I've got one. I know I've got one on an app, which means you've got one on an app as well. However you're consuming television, you're able to record it. So I don't want to hear any excuses out there on the stream as well. Twitch.tv/Shander Show. Ridiculous. Well, I can't stay up. It's too late. I'm washed just like you out there, okay? 10:30 at night when you're up at 4:30, 5 in the morning, it's difficult. I understand I'm asking a lot. That's why we have technology. That's why we have the ability to record stuff. Come on, I shouldn't have to walk you through this. But I don't know if I can get away with abstaining like today. I just don't know. Today, it's pretty easy to just look at this line without anybody forcing me to make any pick here and say, just stay away. Just stay away from this football game, please. Don't even look at the line. It's worthless at a point. The money line, if you really wanted to just not lose any money, you could take the Eagles, but they're doing you no favors by any means. If you want to flirt with the total, go ahead and take the under. That's probably the one that I would say. Let's be honest now, and I'm looking at a couple of these props to see if, in fact, I can get something with Wentz. I do know that Fox Bet gave us some things, so we have one really cool one with Deshaun Jackson. So another tease right there. Friday night, 10:30. There you have it, Fox 29. But I'm looking just to find one or two player props in this that would be worth playing. But we might have missed an obvious one. And I know that a lot of people here, they want to see this offense bounce right back. They want to see Deshaun Jackson, who played half of the game as far as snaps are concerned, half of the snaps. Jalen Reagor, who's probably going to see a lot of Jalen Ramsey. Alshon Jeffrey's not present. Greg Ward, Hightower. All right. 2 tight ends. Absolutely. Sign me up for that. That's the only way that you're going to be able to consistently move the football down the field, the middle of the field, and then try and just hope that Reagor can break open on something from Ramsey. And if I'm the Rams, then I'm just saying, here you go. Meet this rookie. You guys share the same name. It's spelled, different here, but here you go. Reagor, Ramsey, go ahead. Play it out. Don't let this guy leave your sight. If I'm the Rams, I'm not letting that happen at all. I'm not letting Jalen Reagor beat Jalen Ramsey at all. I'm making sure that he's out. If Deshaun's out there, it's a little bit of a different story, but who knows how much it's going to be out there. That was one of the most bizarre stories that happened following that Eagles loss, outside of the most obvious one, which is how in the world are you going to blow a 17-point lead? But nonetheless, we're here and trying to figure out what this game plan looks like on offense, what the Rams game plan looks like on offense. I actually think you can get away with the total. If you wanted to stretch this and tease something else, I'm not against that by any means. You want to add some points to this thing, go ahead. Let's do it. Maybe that Broncos-Steelers game, if you wanted to bring that down even more so, 41.5, my goodness. I mean, we could try and bring that one down. I'm just looking at a low one here to see how much lower we could get. 42.5 is pretty much the standard. Bills, Dolphins, no, sir. I do not trust Miami enough to do any type of heavy lifting there. I mean, we could always push something even higher, like a 51.5. And, as far as maybe move that up. I still think, though, that we're better off taking a lower number and making it under. All right, so let's do that. 45.5 right now. Giants, Bears. It's really between the Broncos, Steelers, and the Giants, Bears. I mean, what are the odds there, right? Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented by Cure Auto Insurance at Shander Show, twitch.tv/Shander Show. Giants and Bears locked in a shootout. Could see it, especially with Golden Tate back. Trubisky. There's a disgruntled wide receiver there, and Allen Robinson, who can light it up and might have even more incentive to showcase. Not that he needs to showcase anymore. 42 is a really low number. Although I will say, Broncos game here, 41.5. I'm going to drop it. All right, so this is the teaser here. This is the bet of the night. We used to have this when we had live action, but the NBA right now will have to wait until Monday. Bill Horrenda is going to join us in 15. But here's the play. We're going to make it a 7-point teaser. We're going to move the Eagles game now to 52.5 and go under that. It's just not going to happen. Let's start there. And then the other play is over 41.5 with the Broncos. Steelers game's now been moved down to 34.5. So let's start with our game. Let's start here locally with this Eagles game. Eagles-Rams, why am I so confident that there's not going to be a shootout? It's not going to be this high-scoring affair where we've seen the Rams in the past put up 35, 40 points. We've seen the Eagles battle them back, and definitely, even if you want to date back to the Super Bowl year, we've seen them handle the tempo and the need to score in the 30s, 40s, if you will, to win a football game, not be a problem. But these offenses are clearly different. And Jalen Ramsey's going to shut somebody down. It doesn't have to be Rager. It could be Deshaun, but Jalen Ramsey is definitely going to put in some work. And that we cannot ignore that simply because of Aaron Donald. Now, to be fair to the Eagles offense, it's not like the Rams defense is lights out following that. It's kind of like two phases. I don't know. I've got the PS5 on my mind from the reveals. So I was thinking it as far as like a level or beating a boss or something along those lines where it's two stages to it. And then once you knock off or you withstand the first two stages, it's really easy. You have to do something really crazy and tricky, and you have to time it out, and you have to duck and then fire something back, whatever it may be, whatever game comes to mind. And it's really tough and difficult the first time around. But then once you get it, it's easy. Oh, okay, there you have it. And then you get the rhythm down. You've withstood the difficult part. And now it's just a matter of a couple of quick timed reaction, and you pass the level, you beat the boss, you get the treasure, whatever it may be. So in this, the kill, whatever it may be. In this case here, if you get past those two really difficult, mind you, but still those two levels, things become a lot easier for the Philadelphia Eagles offense, or really any offense. It's just, how much do you have to withstand Aaron Donald? How much do you have to withstand Jalen Ramsey? How much can you throw at Jalen Ramsey in order to either wear him down or just get over on him? And those are two difficult things to do, which is just withstand, not even beat, but withstand Aaron Donald, and at the same time have enough speed to throw out Jalen Ramsey that you wear him down. Eagles actually do have that with Rager and Jackson, if in fact Deshaun Jackson plays, but I know he tweeted out that he wasn't hurt. His body language on the sidelines was not like a guy who was pulled, not like a dude who was just benched, or, there was some issue with the Doug Peterson and the coaching staff or something along those lines. Looked like somebody who has come to grips with something going on that's just not there. And when you're that fast and you have the ability to track a football down like Deshaun does, moving at like a 4.5 clip, then it's going to be an injury that's going to slow you down. It's going to be wear and tear where something just isn't working like it was. Could be a combination of Father Time. It could be a combination of that and something that happened or triggered it as far as an injury that wasn't enough to prevent you from playing or physically remove you from the game, but it was enough to slow you down where it was noticeable. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Nobody does in that true capacity because it was so bizarre. But both of these teams are going to want to throw as safe as possible. Last week, Doug Peterson just aired out as much as he could, still up 17-0. It didn't make much sense. They abandoned the screen game pretty fast. Well, it wasn't working. Well, you're up, and you need to find a way to move the football down the field while still running the clock. Again, the point being is that we saw them try and force the football down the field. They are much more comfortable if, in fact, you're going to see a full or as much of a workload for a guy like Miles Sanders, somebody coming out of the backfield. It's much easier for the Philadelphia Eagles now to move the football down the field in smaller increments. First off, you can get to Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert a little easier down the middle of the field, where it doesn't have to be a 68, 72-yard bomb in which Deshaun has cleared the defense or Jalen Rager has taken a quick slant 70 or 80 yards on the floor. What it means is you need those quick plays to just get to the line, run maybe somewhat of a no-huddle offense, but this Eagles team is not going to drop back 1,000, 1,000. Have Carson Wentz go through some of these deep progressions and just launch the football. That's not what they're going to do. Even when they were throwing the football, it wasn't just deep shot after deep shot. They did try and test them deep, and rightfully so when you're building that lead. But the confusion came, I think, for Doug Peterson personally. We talked about this on Monday, where they simply abandoned a game plan. They had a game plan that was working, and because they were up, they thought, no, we're going to continue to do something, even though it was premature to stay with that course and not leave. And that was their undoing. I mean, it really became a major factor in their undoing. So now going into this game, they're going to play it safer. And by playing it safer, it's getting the ball. Think about it. The guy got sacked 8 times. You think Carson Wentz is going to be asked to drop back, hold on to the football, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, and throw? They're going to be quick passes, slants, tight ends, as much as out of the backfield, as much as you can. They have to preserve this man. I don't know what you think Carson Wentz is made of, adamantium or what it might be, but he's a human being. And he already has a history of getting banged up at times to the point in which it knocks him out for the season. So, yeah, let's not ask him to do exactly what just did not work against the Washington football team, except this time we realize Washington didn't have an Aaron Donald. Washington had a nice, young, fresh rookie pass rusher, another guy on the other side who just beats the Eagles up. They don't have an Aaron Donald. Nobody really has an Aaron Donald except the Rams, which is frightening because as much as the Eagles' offensive line was manhandled on Sunday, this could get bad if, in fact, you stick with that same game plan we saw once they were up 17-0, just asking Wentz to drop back and hold on to the football until somebody gets open deep downfield. That's not going to happen. And I'm giving Doug Peterson a necessary benefit of the doubt here, which they'll see that on tape. They'll realize, okay, guys, we have a problem. We asked our quarterback to hold on to the football way too long, and we also, mind you, have this guy in Aaron Donald who is much bigger, faster, stronger than anybody we just faced in Washington. What do? Somebody in the meeting stands up and says, well, why don't we just get the ball out of Wentz's hands faster? There you go. Dink, dunk. I know we hate that phrase. I know it makes us think of Sam Bradford. I don't know why it made me think of Bradford first, but Bradford, just somebody in this bad backup Coy Detmer capacity. Dink and dunk, man. Dink and dunk. That's what the Eagles are going to do. And you know what? That's exactly what the LA Rams are going to do as well. Jared Goff is not going to drop back and throw the football. Yes, Brandon Graham is out and Derek Barnett up in the air. But even with everybody healthy, we know Jim Schwartz doesn't dial up blitzes left and right. That's not his MO. Oh, man, Jim Schwartz, Mr. Blitz. No, that's not what people say. People weigh in on any platform they can in this city and B&M until you actually get something like one blitz from Schwartz 3 games down the line, and they go back and say, see, we've been yelling at it for weeks. People are infuriated that Jim Schwartz doesn't blitz enough. So save me on all of a sudden not having guys up front means you're not going to see as much pressure. You were never going to see much pressure behind those guys regardless. Now, the depth of it, Vinny Curry's definitely out. The depth of the defensive line now becomes an issue. But even still, the Rams are not going to drop back and do the same thing we just said that the Eagles aren't going to do. It's not going to happen. You will not see either one of these teams drop back and ask their quarterback to hold on to the football and win the game up top in the air. Wentz can have a big day as far as from a scoring standpoint. You'll probably see something like 240, something like that, maybe 3 TDs if they win. Goff, same thing. Way under 300. Couple of scores. Last time he didn't even score. He didn't even throw for a touchdown against the Cowboys. These guys are not 1-2, remember, forever linked in the same draft. They're not world beaters. Not yet. I love Carson Wentz. I'll root for the guy as the quarterback for my football team that I've rooted for my entire life. But we also have to understand and be honest with ourselves first before we want other people to be honest with them and their team about Dak Prescott or anybody else, is that these guys are middle tier. You've got top-tier quarterbacks in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. I mean, Russell Wilson is, year in and year out, one of the top 2 quarterbacks. Top 2, top 3, maybe in a bad year, quarterbacks. At least Rodgers will go up and down and sometimes gets knocked out of that, mainly because of his health, or it's just what's around him isn't working. Patrick Mahomes has now jettisoned himself up there, but Russell Wilson, man, come on. As great as Lamar Jackson is and Aaron Rodgers is, and as great as we have some insane talent at the top heavy part of the quarterback position in the NFL, you don't have anybody who has a feel. It's like watching Barry Sanders if Barry Sanders was a quarterback. It's not just his ability to move with his feet, it's the vision. It's like I'll give you a perfect combination of one guy in his sport and another guy not in his sport. And it's only because if anybody is familiar with him as a passer, and that's probably where he was, I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. Forget it. Just look at it like that. It would be like Barry Sanders if Barry was a quarterback because of how smart he can see things happen before they actually do. We don't have that here, and Jared Goff ain't it either, folks. It's not like Jared Goff is coming in. Oh, man, they got Jared Goff. That's right. Oh, I forgot. They got that Jared Goff guy, man. I don't know. At first I was confident. Philadelphia Eagles getting a point, plus 100 on the man. Nobody's saying that about Goff. If you are, or if you know somebody that is, then they're trolling you. Big value on the board in the NBA. We're going to touch on that with Bill Herenda coming up next. A lot in week 2. It's a football Wednesday for us. Michael Calabrese is going to join us at 7:15 as we can hit another week in college football, talk a little bit about some Big Ten futures as well as the Big Ten is back. It's a busy program tonight here. What are the odds? Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented by Cure Auto Insurance.
Friday and Saturday night, our 2020 iHeart.
All right, you got 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Awesome. Thank you, by the way, for fixing that.
No problem.
Stage, plugged in, and playing loud.
Am I calling someone now?
Oh, yes. Oh. Thank you. See, I need more help than you think.
One is a proud partner of the
I didn't hear you.
iHeartRadio
I'm
Music
sorry.
Festival.
No, I was saying it's okay.
Services to their customers. What's in your wallet?
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Traffic is moving again at the DeConey Pomara
Okay,
Bridge.
just sent you Bill's number.
Bridge opening.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Westbound Broad to the Schuylkill merge. The westbound Schuylkill Heavy University pass south. Roadwork has just the right lane getting by. Eastbound Schuylkill, so between Broad and Packer with Roadwork in the left lane. 95 northbound backing up to the Commodore Barry and Curlin Street. There's a slow-moving crew working in the right lane. Southbound 95 heavy from Cotton to Bridge. 422 eastbound, so between Saratoga and Lewis Road. Construction there takes it down to one lane. Lara Tutela, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. School goes on. Staples has everything to start the year right, no matter where school happens, and all at amazing prices. This week at Staples, Apple AirPods start at just $129. Offer ends 9/19 while supplies last. Limit 2. School on, save on at Staples.
Just because you've been with the car insurance company for years doesn't mean you're getting the best rate. Almost all insurance companies use your credit score, education level, and your employment status to determine your rate.
I have 1:40, and Bill is on the line.
Awesome. Okay, so I have Sorry.
Studies showed if you don't have a 700+ credit
So I have an
score, you could be
interview
paying
that
over
I
50%
did
more for
earlier
car
today
insurance, even without
on the
an accident or
PGA.
ticket.
So I'm going
Go
to send it
Cure.com
to
and see how
you,
much you could be saving.
and you can
Getting a
just
quote
roll it.
quick
Is
and
that
easy, and
is that
it's free.
cool?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, great. Let me see.
And claim support 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Is it
Just
best to
visit
just
Cure.com.
email it to you?
That's
Yes, please.
Okay, and I don't think I have your email, do I?
I think I sent it to you.
I do?
Yeah, it's in our. I can resend it real quick so you don't look for it.
No, hold on.
Cast Paper Ghosts investigates a decades-long search for four
Actually,
young
you know
girls
what?
who vanished from their neighboring New England hometowns.
It's like she dropped off the face of the earth. If you tried to say anything to them about her, they didn't like that.
So what do you? Well, I'm sorry.
Recently
Can you
uncovered
give it to me one more time?
evidence that could change everything.
Yeah,
Actually,
I just
you
sent
texted it to me, right?
I sent it. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why. Didn't I send you something already?
No.
No. Maybe not. I thought I would have it in there. All good.
Did you just get it though?
I got your text. Thank you.
Okay.
So this is all
From
encompassed,
McGuire's
like it's
full-class
all
car wash to
enclosed, meaning you
interior
just let it
detailer cleaner.
roll from
And you
start
can
to
get it
end.
fast.
Okay, cool. And we're gonna do that.
Let's talk about that after Bill at the next break.
Cool. All right. Well, you got 2 seconds.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Yo, I'm getting ready to put y'all up on something, man. Yo, when you see something,
This
real,
me, right?
You know what I mean? That's whoa.
Yep.
Whoa. Have me a big 6 at the curb. That's whoa.
I think I needed
Especially
this
when
for
they got
something.
a fully equipped kid on it. It's whoa. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, I had this.
All right, so let's look at the big matchup in the Western Conference Finals that everybody had. You know, I was anticipating, like we all were, of course, the all LA Western Conference Finals. So the next time we had a conversation, like right now on the Dr. Glatt Regrow Your Hairline, Dr. Paul Glatt, Philadelphia's leading hair restoration doctor, with Bill Herenda, our top NBA mind contributor analyst out there at Bill Herenda on Twitter. And you never know where the conversation is going to go once we get off the rails here. But as far as where we would start, I was really looking forward to breaking down an all LA Western Conference Finals with you, an LA resident, Bill. But here we are talking about the Nuggets of all teams.
The Nuggets on the rise, the Clippers' demise, the ignominious Clippers, Eitan. A lot of shock here in LA to the delectation of Lakers fans. But I certainly thought that the Lakers and Clippers were destined to meet in the Western Conference Finals. But Michael Malone, Jokic, Murray, they had a little something to say about it, that's for sure.
So I want to be able to create two different themes here. So let's put the Nuggets. We'll praise the Nuggets, rightfully so. I mean, what they did, 2 straight series, is unheard of. I'm not going to take anything away at all from what Denver did. At the same time, I feel like there can be another coexisting theme, which is that was one of the worst exits you'll find in the postseason in the NBA outside of losing in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, it has to be. No question about it. When you got elite talent like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, albeit this core group of Clippers not together for the duress and the pressure and the stress that the Nuggets have been dating back a couple of years. Remember when they lost to Minnesota on the final day of the season to get into the playoffs? They were shut out. They have been in so many elimination scenarios, and you're right, unprecedented 2 comebacks down 3-1 in the same playoffs, just unheard of. But here with the Clippers, what strikes me, and Vinny Del Negro and others have said this, how you win and how you lose in the NBA matters. And this was far from a good look. You look, Eitan, at the fourth quarter last night alone, there were only 2 points from the Clippers starters, and they only got to the free throw line twice. This is a team that led the league regular season in free throws made and attempts, 9th in percentage, 1 for 10 from 3. Where's the fight? Where's the drive? Where's the passion? To be unable to seal the deal is pretty egregious.
Straight up, Doc Rivers, should he be gone after this?
You know, I really don't think so. I think that's the easy solution here. And listen, the guy's won a championship. We know he's blown multiple 3-1 leads. The tactician, I was just rewatching last night's second half. Of course, when they were doubling Jokic, he just picked them apart, right? The roll man's responsibility is that of the rotation man. They were slow. He just picked them apart 4-on-3. In Game 6, there were virtually no adjustments. But I'm not absolving Doc from that. But I just think that's the easy solution here to make a change in that seat. And I just wouldn't make it. That's just my perspective.
No, it's very fair. And I don't know what else you can really do outside of just not bring back Morris or Harrell because they've got so much money tied into a bunch of guys. So I don't know if that was the solution by any means. And you look at the flip side of it, Bill, as we mentioned with Denver, and my goodness, I don't know how many people cashed in a ticket with the Denver Nuggets beating the Clippers in that series outright, but here they are, 2 straight series in which they're down, backs to the wall, facing elimination. I don't know if we've seen anything like this, and we're not even at the Western Conference Finals yet.
Yeah, it's an amazing story. And, of course, for Michael Malone, a scion of Brendan Malone, longtime NBA coach, This is reminiscent to me of Hubie Brown's quote. The notoriety of a coach is directly proportional to his team's execution under pressure. Now, I spent time with Michael Malone. I was the Kings insider for NBC Sports Bay Area the year that he was fired. But listen, I tweeted this out. You don't have to be in a gym long with Michael Malone to know that he can flat out coach. He's got so much respect throughout the league from his players, peers, and Denver really has taken on his gritty, tough, determined, focused personality. And he's got major talent, in Jokic, in Murray, and great supporting pieces in Millsap and Harris et al. But he's done an amazing job there with the Denver Nuggets. No question about that.
Nuggets are plus 450 right now on DraftKings to win the series. We've seen crazier things happen, I'm sure, in sports. This wouldn't be totally outlandish. Are you laying even a shekel on that, Bill?
I will abstain, but I'll tell you, the Denver, they're a very dangerous team. There's no question about that. And I think LeBron and Anthony Davis and Frank Vogel certainly get that. One of the things, Eitan, I think will be key, paramount in that series is that, Denver during the regular season was 29th in pace. So if you play at a slow pace, again, this is Hubie Brown, what must you do? You must shoot a high percentage. Well, they were 4th in field goal percentage during the regular season. The Lakers, 8th in pace, but again, a top 5 team as far as field goal percentage goes. So from that standpoint, I think it'll be a very interesting series. I take that back. The Lakers actually led the league in field goal percentage, 48%. Great defensive battle. This will be, as the Lakers were 3rd in defensive rating and top 5 in block steals, field goal percentage against.
Any change in how you predicted this thing after one game for the Eastern Conference Finals? I know the series line shifts clearly with Miami up, and they're at minus 162. The Celtics at plus 132 to win this thing outright. But we also had the benefit of watching them play a game first.
I'm struggling with this series, man. I think it goes 7. I think it's, who's going to make plays? Is it going to be Butler or Tatum, at crunch time? And these are two teams that are very well balanced. Of course, the Celtics are 4th in offensive rating, 4th in defensive rating. Miami, so well-balanced positional size and versatility. We saw Bam with a tremendous block last night. Dragic, the seasoned veteran. So, my head says Boston. My gut says Miami in this. I think it's going to be one heck of a series. There's no question about that. And again, I just think this is going to be a real treat to watch as it evolves.
What I'm concerned about, if I were even right now, and minus 162 is not terrible to take the Heat to win this thing. You'll get the benefit of them being up a game. But what I'm concerned about is Gordon Hayward returns, and all of a sudden that tips the scales even more. That gives you 5, assuming he's back healthy, that gives you 5 guys, including Marcus Smart, who we saw in game 1, despite them lose but still go off. 5 guys that can kill you on any given night.
Right, exactly. That's so many weapons. They're so well balanced. And that's a wild card as well. How quickly does he reacclimate to game speed, to game rhythm? Can he contribute? The downside, of course, is does he take minutes away from guys if he's not right? Of course, if he's right and productive, he could be a tremendous boon, but you certainly don't want to disrupt the chemistry that the Celtics have evolved into during the playoffs. And you raise a good point, too, with Smart. He's so mercurial, and we know that Mark Twain said the inability to forget is infinitely more devastating than the inability to remember. And Smart doesn't even remember his last shot. He just knows the next one is going in.
Mark Twain, Hubie Brown, who are you talking to, man? I mean, you are way smarter than me in this audience here. You got to dumb it down when you're on this program, Bill.
Oh, come on now. This is the intelligentsia, your audience.
Well, maybe my audience. That's fair. Not me, but that's I'll be at the bottom. I can deal with that.
There you go.
It's all about LeBron still. And let's just leave and kind of end with the Lakers and circle back to LA. But of course, the big story there, and that's LeBron James. when you look at it and it's all said and done, if it's Boston, the team that we just talked about, especially with a healthy Hayward having those 5 weapons they can throw at, or if it's this fantastic balance of veteran, savvy, just old, snappy vet like Jimmy Butler, Goran Dragic, and a mix of young kids in Miami, where would beating somebody in the East list as far as what LeBron has done with championships and accomplishments?
You know what? I just think, listen, if he's able to get it done and to be as productive as he is at this age, I think the opponent doesn't really render that much significance. I think the amplification point will be having the mental fortitude and toughness, the collective grit and determination that Frank Vogel has inculcated in this team, particularly defensively, the rim protection, the transition defense. If LeBron gets it done here, I think it's just goes down as another significant championship. I don't think it's minimized at all. I think the asterisk becomes less of a factor as we watch these games in the bubble. And whoever they beat, if he gets it done, I think it's still significant.
Awesome, Bill. Always appreciate it, man. Thank you. Be well, be safe out there. At Bill Horrenda on Twitter is how you can follow along more, especially as this NBA season winds down. Thoughts and video. Great stuff. The one up with Mike Malone is there as well at BillHorrenda.com. So you can catch everything, not only insight and expertise from Bill, but thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Joining us on the Dr. Glatt Regrow Your Hairline, Dr. Paul Glatt, Philadelphia's leading hair restoration doctor. We'll get you ready for 2 big things happening this weekend. Michael Calabrese is going to join us at 7:15, second hour. Look at the big slate. I know he already has week 3 picks lined up for college football. So a couple of big games on this gigantic slate for Michael Calabrese. And also, before we get out of here, we'll bring in one of our own who's out now in Michigan covering golf and college basketball for The Athletic, and Brendan Quinn, to talk about the U.S. Open. What are the odds? Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. It's all presented by Cure Auto Insurance.
Attention sports gamblers. It's time.
All right, got 4:30.
Okay.
Every Thursday
What time do
night,
I
6
need to be
p.m.
out?
The Gambler. Super Bowl champ Barrett Brooks takes you inside, puts you on the right side.
They like Miles Sanders because he gives you that versatility out of the backfield, but you also have to account for him running the rock.
Philly. Be sure to catch Beating Your Bookie every Thursday at 6 p.m. on Fox Sports The Gambler. Always streaming on the iHeartRadio app.
Everyone knows
57 would be ideal.
Okay.
get maxed out and you get behind on your taxes. Unfortunately, the IRS is not as understanding, and they won't stop until they collect. They have the power to take your paycheck, freeze your bank accounts, even your home or business could be at risk. It's simply not worth it to take on the IRS by yourself. You need to call the experts at Optima Tax Relief. When you call, be sure to ask about the Fresh Start Initiative. It's a special IRS debt assistance program that could save you thousands, even tens of thousands if you qualify. Optima will immediately provide you with a team of professionals who will fight to protect you from the IRS, ensuring you get the best possible outcome. The Better Business Bureau has awarded them an A+ rating, and you will too. So put the hard times behind you and call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey, Eagles fans! Pepsi is now the official soft drink of your Philadelphia Eagles, and we're celebrating by giving fans like you a chance to win awesome Eagles prizes. Look for golden cans featuring Swoop in specially marked Eagles Pepsi 12 packs. Find one and you can score prizes like 2021 sweet tickets. Pepsi, made for football watching. It's not game day without Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Philadelphia Eagles. Grab some
All right, so
refreshing Pepsi at ShopRite today.
How long is that I sent you? Let's see. I have 35 seconds. Right. So
save up to 45% on Dell computers and servers with Intel Core processors.
How long is the last break?
Modern devices with Windows 10. Also save on electronics and
3 minutes and 14
for the Going Into John show? Well, I guess it doesn't have to be a hard break because John's on,
who can help
right?
you find just the right.
Sorry, yeah. So the last one going into his break. Oh, I Yeah, the last one going into before John's show is 3 minutes and 42 seconds.
Okay, so let's say 4 minutes. So let's just back time it, and we can run that right into the final break. So it's 14 and a half plus 3.5, right?
Yep.
So, all right. If we did that, 18 minutes, let's say we ran it at 42, at 7:42.
Oh, that would be good.
And you could just let it run, and
Yep, I can let it run on the box, bro.
if John's a good citizen, he might even say go home. Because you don't need me and we don't need you, and John could just sit there and take over at 8.
You can just let it go. But yeah, so either way works. That's good.
Is he there yet?
He's in. No, he's here, but he's in the next room next.
Oh, okay. But you don't understand what I'm saying? Is like we can just end the show technically at 42.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Let that thing run because it's the interview, and then from there, it'll roll into the commercials anyway.
Yep.
And then John can take over.
Sounds perfect.
Okay, perfect.
In 40 seconds.
Staples has everything to start the school year right at amazing prices, no matter where it happens. This week, pocket folders, comp books, and 4-ounce Elmer's glue are just 25 cents each. In-store only. Offer ends 9/19 while supplies last. Limit 6. School on, save on at Staples.
iHeartRadio is the #1 choice for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. No one makes it easier to hear everything you love in one free app.
There are tons of playlists to choose from.
The work at home playlist really helps me stay focused. It's kind of become part of my routine.
We went on a road trip. We had a playlist for that.
It doesn't even matter.
Yes?
5.
Oh.
Radio for free today and start listening.
iHeartRadio.
Yeah. Clear it up for you. All right. Yeah. Look mad. Y'all supposed to be happy on the screen. Y'all seem like y'all wanted me to stay there.
All right, so a busy second hour here. We've got Michael Calabrese right as we begin, 7:15. Brendan Quinn right as we end at 7:45. First up, college football with Michael, and then the U.S. Open with Brendan. And I'll just touch on this real quick because I think there's really only one bet to place with Tiger right now. And it's, I think, unfortunate that we won't see him past Friday. But hopefully, at least from a broadcast standpoint, they've really been up and down this year. As somebody who's on live 11-1 every day, watching especially Tiger's first round back, where you had to buy that ridiculous NBC Sports Plus thing. And it's not even like they offered anything cool. It would be like paying extra for any one of these apps, HBO Max or whatever else it may be, for one thing, for one show. Oh, that's my show right there. How can I get it? How can I get it? Well, it's only on Hulu. Well, what the hell's on Hulu? Well, you've got fill in the blank, all these shows. And I know it's on Hulu. I'm just using this as an example. And you're looking through this and thinking, there's just no way I would ever watch this show, that show, the other show. But they've got my show. So here, take my $10.99 a month, no commercials. I don't even want that. Take the extra package there, and we're good to go. And I think essentially that's what happened for a lot of people. We did it on my local show or network show. This is a local show, sorry, where we even had the stream of that up on our stream just so people could see that there were no real options outside of golf. You weren't really getting anything. And even then, you kind of had to wait still, and you were at the mercy of their own broadcast. It's not like this was any type of on-demand thing. So they've butchered a couple of times over. They've butchered the broadcast and just how you can consume the sport on Thursday and Friday. Weekends are different because you're watching it on the network anyway, and they're going to cover any big name they can, specifically Tiger. But as far as this specific U.S. Open and this crazy year that we're all watching right now, knowing that Tiger really hasn't played much golf or enough golf, I think the only real bet to place right now is whether or not he's going to make the cut. You can't, it's really difficult to place anything like a top 5, a top 10, a top 20 for Tiger. Top 20, I think, is realistic, but we also have to look at how difficult it's been for Tiger Woods to put together 4 straight days of golf. Even making a cut has not been any type of saving grace. It's a different type of Tiger, one that we're not really used to because he's really difficult to predict. He really is. We've seen Tiger stink before. That's not new. We've seen Tiger dominate. Even post-domination, we've seen Tiger dominate. But we've never seen Tiger really like this. And what's frustrating from a betting standpoint is you can go into this tournament and really have a strong feel about, I'd say, 10 to 15 golfers if you just want to start in world ranking and move from 1 through 15. But I can tell you how Xander Schauffele is going to play. I can tell you how Jon Rahm's going to play. I can tell you how Justin Thomas and Dustin Johnson are going to play. I could tell you that I would not touch anything at all with Bryson with your money out there. You could Venmo me now and I wouldn't place it on Bryson. You could say the only way in which you're getting this money is if it's going on Bryson. Wouldn't take it. Wouldn't even take a cut of the winning if in fact it won because I knew it would never win. Could tell you exactly how these guys are going to play. Tony Finau is going to have one day, maybe Friday, maybe Saturday, where he's going to shoot like 6 under, and it's going to lead the whole entire field. Hatton, Matsuyama, Rose, we kind of have an idea of where these guys, maybe if you're feeling lucky, you'd place an outside bet on Fitzpatrick or Hovland. But we know how those, Ricky Fowler, nobody in their right mind is going to place anything on Ricky Fowler because he's just waiting to implode. We know all about a lot of golfers. And some of it is because we've had a little more time than normal at the start of a season because everybody was kind of thrust in there. The other part of it is that it's more about Tiger Woods just being wildly inconsistent. And it's maddening from a betting standpoint. Truly, it's frustrating. I don't have any here, but you rip it out. Watching this guy on Thursday hover 2 strokes off the lead, thinking my top 10 bet right now looks pretty damn good. Looking around looks pretty damn good. But on the other hand, you're looking back thinking, wait a second. He just shot 4 over par on Friday. Missed the cut. What just happened? Well, that's Tiger right now. Tiger Woods right now is a walking time bomb. We just don't know when he's going to go off. But one thing we really haven't seen even in this is a couple of days of bad golf or a couple of days of good golf. It does seem, if there's anything that's consistent about his inconsistency, it's that he rarely puts together 2 straight days of the same play. So take that for what it's worth. Let's watch, see what you get with Tiger. You'll know about 5, maybe 6 holes in what you're going to get from Tiger Woods day 1. And then from there, I think you just, if you want to jump in live, go ahead and jump in live. I wouldn't place any future type bet as far as like a top 10 or top 20 finish based off of 7 holes. But what you can do, and this is a nice little tidbit here on how to bet Tiger moving forward, especially in this event here, the U.S. Open, is watch what happens on Thursday. This is like the golf version of Fade the Phillies. Watch what happens on Thursday. Give him 5, 6 holes. See where he is. See how consistent he's playing. See how well he's striking the ball. See how poorly he's putting. Whatever it is that's either causing him to play insanely well, the catalyst, or his undoing. Whatever it is. And just wait. Sit there and wait until he's done. You can do that. You can live bet other guys. You can fade Bryson. You can get all over on Xander. Whatever it is. Do whatever you want. But just patiently wait with Tiger. And then as soon as Tiger's done, as soon as he's off 18, and you see what score he put together, you see what type of day that he had, you immediately fade that and bet the opposite the next day on Friday. So if Tiger Woods comes out, now let's do the math. where if he placed himself out of contention for any worry of the cut, then you don't turn around and bet that, but take other guys in his group or fade his overall score. Shoots a 69, which is going to be really tough to do at Winged Foot. This course is not easy. Let's say Tiger comes out, shoots a 68, 69. I like 68 better. Tiger shoots a 68. The next day, if you look at his line, it's 69.5. Go over. 70.5. Go over. 71.5. Go over. Flip side. Let's say Tiger comes out, fires a 73. And you're like, whoa. Now, to be fair, 73 is probably going to be at the top anyway because of how difficult this course is. But let's just say something like that. At that point, you would then fade anything high and you would go under 69.5, 70, still go under. What are the odds he misses the cut? Well, it's minus 225 to make it, plus 160 to miss it. And there's the play right there, folks. Plus 160 to miss the cut. You're welcome. What are the odds? Fox Radio The Gambler, presented by Cure Auto Insurance.
Dan Patrick, 9 to noon. Brown joins us. Colin Cowherd from noon to 3. The Sixers are up.
All right, got 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Okay, cool.
Sean Brace from 3 to 6 p.m.
And then you have so you have the interview, right?
Right here on Fox.
Okay, cool. Just let me know if you need anything from me.
Nope. When you sent it, I put it into the Box Pro, so it'll just play out of there when it's ready.
Perfect. Perfect.
20, a roving crew is taking out the 2 right lanes. Vine Expressway westbound jam from the Parkway to the Schuylkill merge, and the westbound Schuylkill So University Pass South. Roadwork has only the right lane getting by. 95 southbound, a little slow from Cotman to Bridge. Lower Pottsgrove 422 eastbound. Slow between Saratoga and Lewis Road. That's a construction zone. Only one lane is getting through. Lara Tutela, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples helps your business with everything from office essentials to health essentials, all at amazing prices. This week, Apple AirPods Pro are just $199. That's a $50 savings. Offer ends 9/19 while supplies last. Limit 2. Save big this week at Staples.
Just because you've been with the car insurance company for years doesn't mean you're getting the best rate. Almost all insurance companies use your credit score, education level, and your employment status to determine your rate, but not Cure Auto Insurance. Last time I checked, those things have nothing to do with your driving ability. Cure bases rates primarily on what really matters, how well you drive. Did you know a study showed if you don't have a 700 plus credit score, you could be paying over 50% more for car insurance?
Okay, so do
even
you
without
have
an accident or
Michael's
ticket?
number
Go to
from last week?
Cure.com and see how much you could be saving. Getting a quote is quick and easy.
Wait, I don't know if you do actually.
I have Michael.
Okay, hold on.
Support 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just visit cure.com, that's CURE.com, or call 800-535-CURE. That's 800-535-2873. Cure Auto Insurance. Drive well.
Get ready, football fans. The $500,000 Pennsylvania Pick'em is back.
Okay,
at
so
Bet
let's do
Rivers
this.
Sportsbook. Grab your share of this
Um,
huge prize pool by picking the most winning pro football games this season. Visit betrivers.com before September 13th to enter Pennsylvania's premier pro football prediction contest. In addition to the grand prize, players have a chance
At
to win weekly
7:15.
prizes. Each week is a new chance for you to win. Get your share of the guaranteed prize.
Wait a second.
pool.
How
Enter the
how long
Pennsylvania
is this
Pick'em
first
contest now
break
at betrivers.com.
in the
Presented
7
by
o'clock
Rivers
hour?
Casino Pittsburgh. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
As of right now, it's only 2 minutes and 51 seconds.
That's fine. That's fine. So why don't we do this? Why don't I break at 15, and then if I broke again at 30, no. All right.
15 seconds. You need me to extend?
No, why don't we do this? At 7:15, why don't you give Michael a call and just let me, because I won't break. I'll just keep talking, and you just let me know when he's ready, and then I can go to him.
Gotcha.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Insurance.
Can you feel it? Nothing can save you.
Speaking of fade the Phillies, as we open up the second hour here, the line change comes your way 59 minutes from now. It's a long opportunity for us to jam as much as we can in, not only for tonight, but Thursday, Friday, and throughout the weekend. Speaking of which, we'll chat with Michael Calabrese at 7:15. We'll chat with Brendan Quinn at 7:45. College football, U.S. Open, respectively. Heard my theory on Tiger. Fade him. I'm not having him make the cut, but just take the opposite of whatever he does. So if he finishes low on Thursday, then you go over his projected score on Friday and vice versa, depending on what happens on Thursday. You have the opportunity to see an entire round, and he's just wildly inconsistent. It's just what's going on right now with Tiger. Jimmy Butler in the Heat, back at it, looking to go up 2-0. We spoke with Bill Horrenda in the first hour, and I couldn't agree more. Maybe it's just me wishing for this thing to go 7 because it should be electric. Every game should be insane, but I can't root. We can't. No, I don't think anybody here can really root for a Boston team, right? That's not going to happen. Is that really in somebody's vocabulary? Is that really happening in somebody's household right now? Is your hatred, your level of disdain, the jealousy that you feel for Jimmy Butler, who has moved on to bigger and better things, to greener pastures in Miami and South Beach of all places? Like, does that make you big mad that he has to move on from all of this nonsense here? Cold, brutal winters. Remember that? I know it's been hasn't it felt like a long summer? It really has. 2020. First off, March was March felt like a year. It felt like an entire year, March. It's like anything. Man, we've been here. We've been together that long. We've been here that long. We've been in this house. It felt like forever. This summer, and it wasn't the good, man, we cherished every second of it. It wasn't like a vacation. Everything moves fast. Time flies when you're having fun. I understand that, but you can still cherish moments. If you've ever been away, and it doesn't even need to be a vacation, it could just be you got the hell away from whatever's the constant, whatever's the consistent where you live. But if you've ever just escaped, then you've gone through that. You've been through that where you've cherished moments. And then you look back and think, man, that did fly. But at the same time, you just remember all these moments come back. This has been one of the worst, long, drawn out, for terrible reasons, just ridiculous stuff that, from political to social to financial to virus related, it's way bigger and more important, of course, than what we do here on the day-to-day. But that's part of it, is that this summer was supposed to fly by. It was supposed to be like every other summer, where you look back and think, man, it's all right. Now it's like, just get me to the winter, man. Just get me out of this year. Get me into 2021. It can't be this bad. It's like the team that finishes 0-16. We've gone winless. This country, and I guess the world, if you look around as well, we just went through an 0-16 season. Just get us the hell out of here. That's all I want. Just push the button, eject, so we can move on into the next year. But we're stuck up here talking about Ben Simmons making the 3rd All-NBA team. Meanwhile, Jimmy Butler's down there leading the charge. Overtime, fireworks, everything that came from Tuesday's game. We still, mind you, have the discussion about Jimmy Butler is now 3 wins away from the NBA Finals. And yes, it's always going to sting here. Even if he gets blown out and swept by LeBron, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Making it to the finals, outlasting everybody in your conference, is way more of an accomplishment than it will be made out to be, minimized up here by people who just don't want to come to grips with it. Well, they're still playing golf like everybody else. You're telling me that you wouldn't trade, not only from an experience standpoint, from a player standpoint, but from what you go through as a fan, watching them win a couple of series? If that's the case, then just be bad. Don't even make the playoffs. 117, 114 in overtime. Wasn't even Jimmy, it was Goran. But this series is going to be so much fun. So much fun. It's everything that was missing leading up to it. It's crazy because the Eastern Conference Finals was awful. Finals. First round, awful. Second round, as bad as it sounds to just talk about a team like Milwaukee and that upset, that should have been a bigger storyline. They were brutal. They finally came alive. And even Toronto, who was able to push that series, it wasn't really low-scoring basketball. It wasn't exciting. Idiots want to pile on and try to attribute ratings being down for something socio-political when that couldn't be further from the truth, because we've seen how these ratings play out. They're down from years prior simply because the offense was struggling. Anybody watching this, those people who were jumping on that were never watching the game in the first place. But anybody, think about what it takes for a rating point to go down. People need to stop physically watching what they normally watch. It's not like, oh, wait, let me see, I stumbled upon Tiger King, and you start watching something all of a sudden. It's not like something where you just stumble upon it first time you saw it. It's something where consistently, year over year, that's why you'll see that abbreviation, YOY. And that means that you're getting a wealth of information from people who are consistently watching this, and that information is boiled down into ratings. So it would take somebody like me, who is watching this sport year in and year out, series in and series out, not some idiot who doesn't watch the NBA, that's boasting how they're done with the NBA because of a message on somebody's t-shirt or on somebody's pin for their coaching shirt or a graphic that's on the floor. We know that they were never watching the NBA in the first place. They're just piling on nonsensically and idiotically, of course, on social media. But for me, who has watched the sport in and out, has nothing to do with a Black Lives Matter t-shirt or a pin on a coach's shirt. Has absolutely nothing to do with that. Me not wanting to watch what was the Eastern Conference until we got to this Eastern Conference Finals was because there was so much boring, low-scoring basketball, and I'm begrudgingly sitting my way through it. And I found myself moving away from it being on the big screen, on the major screen, where I could shift and now have this on the tablet or even on the phone. Madden could be up or something else could be up. And now it's no longer right there, front and center. Western Conference was a little different. But think about what we had when the bubble came back. The bubble was there. We had the Phoenix Suns. We had the Portland Trailblazers. The return, the NBA restart was way more compelling than anything we've seen up until Tuesday night. That was it. Tuesday night was the first time that the actual NBA playoffs became truly compelling. And that hurts. It hurts for people who are watching night in and night out because it's easier to take a night off. It's not like I went to hockey or something like that. It's just easier to not put it on. Well, do I really want to watch Toronto play another game in which they're going full Bernard Hopkins and hugging people to slow down everything in the tempo? I don't need it. I can wait. I can see the later game. And it's not like a blowout is any more enticing, but when you have Paul George getting sent home and Kawhi Leonard being discussed at length and that level of an upset, well, I'm there for it. Front row, I'm there for it. Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, I'm there for it all. Eastern Conference really got compelling for the first time last night. And moving forward, I guess you can look at what we're doing with the Heat and how much you have to lay at minus 162. But the return of Gordon Hayward definitely scares me. And not to say he's going to be this humongous difference maker, but you now think of the netting that you have. If you're Brad Stevens, you go out in this series, you're going up against three big things that you have to slow down. One, you're actually pretty well equipped to handle. It's just not easy. And that's Jimmy Butler. Defensively, from the Boston Celtics standpoint, they're in pretty good shape when it comes to standing up against and slowing down Jimmy Butler. Dragic and that bench, well, that's a problem. Goran Dragic coming off and leading that second unit, that's an issue. And Boston is not deep enough. They're top heavy, but they're just not deep enough. And I think, yes, if you just look at it and think about it out loud, and I will alongside you as well, you have to factor Bam in there. You have to factor a big man who should be able to have his way more often than not. I mean, let's be fair. Yes, expectations are he should be doing whatever he wants, but Boston is not just going to lay down. So more often than not is a realistic expectation. At Shander Show, twitch.tv/Shander Show, at Fox PHL Gambler for Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. It's all presented, of course, by Cure Auto Insurance. Trevor from the 203 on Twitch. Take the under tomorrow night for the Thursday night football game. Now, and to answer your second point, I think I did, which is done with the NBA, but you don't care about the political BS. I think anybody who has been watching the NBA and for whatever reason took a night off or a couple of nights off, it has nothing to do. And first off, the messages that are being sent by the NBA players, I don't know how pushing for equality became political, but we need to stop that narrative right away. That's not political. I think the people who are using the ratings dropping are doing it for political gain. But players themselves or coaches, like the work stoppage all the way down to wearing a T-shirt with a message on it or something on the back of your jersey, that's not political. That's messages bringing awareness for pushing, again, another conversation about pushing for equality, which should not be political. But if you are, or people out there are fatigued with the NBA and they've been watching, and that's the big caveat here, is that they've been watching the NBA, then it has everything to do with the quality of play. The quality of play has dipped as the playoffs have gone on. We have not seen electricity like the Phoenix Suns. We have not seen that level of energy like we got from the Portland Trail Blazers. We just haven't. We haven't seen something along those lines, and that's what's dipping. Nothing regarding messages that are being sent for equality or anybody turning around and flipping that for political gain. I mean, it's the exact same thing that people tried and failed immediately. They fell on their face immediately with the NFL. like there is going to be some sort of ratings dip in the National Football League. All right, let's go out to the Dr. Glatt Regrow Your Hairline. Dr. Paul Glatt, Philadelphia's leading hair restoration doctor. We bring in Michael Calabrese, a familiar local voice to the program. Action Network, Saturday Down South at SDS. Busy week ahead, my friend. We appreciate your time and insight tonight.
Thanks for having me again. I'm feeling great after just an incredible Sun Belt / Fun Belt filled weekends. Arkansas State and Louisiana winning on the money line. That's the kind of stuff that, just like hitting a good golf shot on, the second fairway, makes you want to get right back out on the links. I can't wait to play some money down on these college football games.
Well, hopefully you do better this week than I did today, and I only needed 9 to butcher the round. So I got in and I got out. I'm trusting that this will be much better.
Yeah, there's a lot of great opportunities out there, and as we've discussed on previous calls, there's just a lot of uncertainty, and there's a lot of square money being thrown out there with new sports books popping up all over the place. Barstool Sportsbook opening in Pennsylvania, it looks like Friday. They have a soft opening right now. So that means even more, newbie money flooding the market.
All right, so where should we begin? Dealer's choice. Well, you tell us, where should we start?
Well, one thing I would like to bring up before we dive into
Yes.
this particular slate of Week 3 games is that, a talking point I've been hammering has been coaching staff continuity and returning production. Because really, that's the best indicator we have right now of teams that are able to weather this wild offseason. But there's one additional piece of information. Actually came from a guy by the name of Thor Nystrom. He writes
Yes.
generally fantasy football stuff.
Thor's great out in Minnesota.
Yeah, he's a fantastic follow on Twitter. Now that the Marvel movies are pretty much on a hiatus, I think he's trending towards being the most popular.
Oh, he's
Thor
got to
on
be,
social
right?
media.
He's got to be a top 3 Thor.
Yeah, easily a top 3 Thor. And one piece of information he threw out this evening is something that I've been finding just by combing through, kind of going on these Easter egg hunts, and it's the number of spring practices by each team all across the country. The majority of them have had less than 3, but it's not coincidental that Coastal Carolina had 15. They go on the road and beat a Big 12 team on Saturday night. Appalachian State, who's a team that is by many viewed as a program that has an opportunity to grab that group of 5 automatic bid to the New Year's Six, as well as Arkansas State, who they've covered in back-to-back weeks, and they won outright in Manhattan against Kansas State. They had 11 spring practices. So these kind of finer details really do matter when you're doing your homework before the season starts.
Well, you mentioned Coastal Carolina. They're laying 26 at home against Campbell. They come off a big win. Is there any value there?
Campbell cannot catch enough points in this game. It opened at 24.5. It's up to 26.5. I would play it up to 34.5, laying the points with Coastal Carolina, because Campbell, it was a great story last week. They went for broke. They went for 2 at the end of the game to try to score an upset against Georgia Southern, who was missing an unfathomable 33 players. Campbell is not even a good FCS team, so the fact that they're playing on the road against Coastal Carolina on a short week, go ahead and take the Chanticleers in this one.
Fair enough. How about Cincinnati coming out 33.5 points? We don't have anything on them this year. I don't know if your theory works to them as well, but it's a humongous line. Granted, Austin Peay is not a good football team, but again, without having any type of real data this year, I don't know how you play that.
The one stat that I like to throw around, and this has been such a unique 2020, is for baseball bettors, the getaway day game,
Yeah.
in general, that's something that's a strategic part of anyone's portfolio. That game 3 before they have to get on a plane that night and go play another away series. In this case, Austin Peay is only playing 3 games this entire year because their conference ended up folding up and they just took a few paycheck games. In this spot, after losing against Central Arkansas, which was their hyped game of the year, they're on national television, they kind of lay an egg down the stretch there. So there was a letdown. They go on the road. They play Pitt. They lose 55-0 last week. And now this is the last game. This is a getaway game for them, in my opinion, because I think at this point, everything that was possible, the shiny new season has been opened up for them, and there's coal in their stocking. And in this case, I think this is another situation where the line just can't be large enough for me to like Austin Peay. I think they'll probably score less than 7 points in this game because this is a Cincinnati defense coached by Luke Fickell, who's the next big name to grab a Power 5 job. I think Cincinnati just waxes them in this spot. So I love the Bearcats.
Unbelievable. And again, that's such a humongous number, but it makes sense when you lay it out. All right, as far as ranked action is concerned, I guess the big one that actually features 2 top 25 teams, Miami and Louisville, that seems to be a tight line. I know it's moved a little bit, but I have it at 2.5, Louisville laying the points. Do you have any interest in this game at all?
The only interest I have is potentially the over, but I'm probably going to go ahead and bet this live in game, hoping for a scoreless first drive or first 2 drives, and then going ahead and grabbing the over. Just in terms of my preparation for Saturday down south, I ended up profiling this game in terms of some interesting trends. And one thing that really popped for me is that the Hurricanes are 5-11 against the spread since 2017. Now, that does include a coaching change, but they just haven't been very good on the road. Whereas the Cardinals at former Papa John's, now just, the generic Cardinal Stadium, they've won 4 in a row straight up and 4 in a row against the spread. So if I was forced to pick a side, I go Louisville with their explosive offense. They created 28 plays last season of 40 yards or more, and you saw that in a second half 70-yard touchdown that helped them break away from Western Kentucky last week. So I think you're getting more of the same from that Cardinal team, but I think really the value here is on over.
Now, have you placed any pick yet on the App State Marshall game? I know you broke down as far as the Thor Nystrom theory, but have you actually made a pick on this game?
So right now I have 2 units in on App State. I may end up going heavier, and the reason is that I think there's just way too much recency bias with this line. If you had asked prognosticators on August 1st, where's Marshall football, where are they trending, generally speaking, because their quarterback play was so up and down last year, they would have said, oh, if they can get the bowl eligibility, that'll be a good season. Fast forward, through only one game, they wax Eastern Kentucky, an FCS program, 59-0, with a freshman quarterback who had a tremendous game, over 300 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. But that's it. That's his entire career. And it's pretty rare in modern college football to get that freshman versus senior quarterback matchup. And Zach Thomas with App State has so much experience. He's played in a lot of big games. They've actually played with the target on their back before. So I like App State in this spot to get a ranked team laying less than a touchdown against a team that, not that long ago was really just fighting for, viability in terms of a bowl game. I think the value is all over App State in this spot.
Love it. Just punched it myself as you were laying it out there. Any big totals? We talked about Houston Baptist, I think, twice so far this season on 2 different shows. Is there any big total, big, gigantic total that jumps out at you?
Well, I would say the Tulsa-Oklahoma State game, it's 65.5. I think both of these offenses could be really effective in this game. Oklahoma State, they have their big 3 in Spencer Sanders, a quarterback, and Chuba Hubbard at running back, a true Heisman candidate at this point in the season, and Tylan Wallace, who, if he's fully recovered from offseason knee surgery, he was a player who's trending towards maybe he would leave and be a first-round pick in the NFL draft. But then when you look on the Tulsa side, their starting lineup, all but 2 starters are either fourth-year juniors or seniors. They have a lot of experience. The offensive line was the only question mark last year, but down the stretch, they really got it going, and they bring back a lot of experience up front now. And honestly, it's something I've been harping on, but this continuity, Tulsa staff has remained intact, and I think this is an opportunity for them to hang around. The fact that this went from across a key number, opened at 20.5, now is at 23, 24 at some books. I like Tulsa. I also like the over 65.5.
Yeah, I see it at 66 right now, but I imagine you're going to tell me the same thing, that it hasn't changed your opinion on that. It probably could move a couple of points even higher.
Yeah, honestly, this is a motivation factor. The only thing that gives me pause is that Gundy has been quoted in the media saying that he's going to play some true freshmen in this game because he really does feel that, even though their protocols and everything related to COVID has stabilized, there's a chance that during Big 12 play, he's going to have to rely on some of those young kids, so he wants to get them experience. That's just a wild card in the second half. Really, that's the only reason that I'm not going a little bit heavier on this over.
Michael Calabrese joining us at East Breeze on the Dr. Glatt Regrow Your Hairline. Dr. Paul Glatt, Philadelphia's leading hair restoration doctor. 45.5 points. Any interest at all? Even if you could tease that up to 52.5 points, would you be interested at even a half unit on the Citadel?
No, I'm going to go ahead and pass on the Citadel, although I will say, if you have me back to talk college basketball in the winter,
of course,
Citadel on the hardwood. They're a team that really likes to push the tempo.
Okay, fair enough. Now, you haven't given us any dogs. Do you have any dogs that are going to either cover a spread or you like outright this weekend?
Well, kind of going through, the full slate, after last week, there was just so much value in some of these underdogs, and a part of me wants to ride that same wave. But there's only one game that popped out to me, and it's Central Florida at Georgia Tech. Maybe it's the fact that we got to see this guy coach at Temple, but I think Jeff Collins is onto something down in Atlanta, and their performance against Florida State, not only were they really good on defense, but it looks like they have a quarterback in Jeff Sims, a true dual threat. Did not look like he was starting his first career game against the Central Florida team that I think, there's a little bit of inflation here on this spread because they've lost numerous starters due to opt-outs. And additionally, I just think this is a team that ever since Frost left, they still had an undefeated regular season. They ended up losing in their bowl game. Last year, the wheels started to fall off a little bit. I think this is kind of priced in a way that's a 2017-2018 version of Central Florida, and it's not reflective of the kind of talent they have right now because, honestly, in the American Athletic Conference, they've been rolling over guys with better athletes, with better team speed, losing a guy like Killings out of their backfield, Gabriel Davis out wide. I'm just not sure they're in a spot to truly reload. And Georgia Tech, if you looked at the post-game, interviews, he was on Scott Van Pelt's show, Jeff Collins, they just seem fired up. It just, at this point, because there's so many unknowns, I want to know that motivation factor if I can get some intel. And it seems like inside their locker room, that was the exact thing that they needed to go from maybe we're good to no, we're actually good. We should expect to win some of these games. So I think they're a live dog, and I'm also going to bet them catching 7.5 points.
All right, so the Big Ten is back, and I need to get your thoughts here on if anything changed as far as what you thought would happen with the conference, assuming they would play, to now knowing they would play? Because I know there was a lot of gray area and even down to, well, they're not going to play. So let's just cut and paste all of that stuff out. And let's go all the way back to when we started looking at the Big Ten before COVID even hit to now when we know the Big Ten is returning. Has anything truly changed in your prediction on how this conference is going to end up?
So I think the wild card for anyone, whether you're a gambler or just a fan, is how many of the players that opted out are going to potentially opt back in. And listen, they're 18 to 22-year-olds. Peer pressure is a real thing. Social media for them is a 24-hour experience. So they're going to be getting it not just from the fans, but also from their teammates. You look at Penn State with a guy like Micah Parsons, who is a true game changer. They wanted to have him involved in kick returns, not just playing defense, playing in the secondary, playing at linebacker, potentially being a situational pass rusher. He's a guy that takes them from, arguably a top 15 team to a legitimate college football playoff threat. So for me, I think there's going to be a lot of fallout in the next even 12, 24 hours because there's going to be players shifting. You saw Michigan's quarterback McCaffrey has decided to enter the transfer portal. There's a lot of people who were thinking to themselves, okay, this is kind of a lost season. I can take my foot off the gas a little bit. I don't necessarily have to think about my future immediately. So that's all changing all in real time. So these rosters are going to be reshuffled. And I think by Monday morning, we're going to have a much better view. Ohio State's another one. Some defensive players who opted out, I think you may see them come back into the fold because honestly, with an 8-game schedule, which is what's being bandied about right now, Ohio State has got to be a favorite to run the table. And if you do that, then you're into the playoffs. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, even for a kid who may be a first-round NFL draft choice.
Yeah, and that's, where we're going to be heading is the lack of consistency of how many games you play, right? If in fact the Big Ten comes back and tries to jam everything in, as we know that target date, and also teams right now who are playing in conferences that have already had to postpone games. We await the SEC. So yes, we'll have 4 teams to go into the playoffs, but will it even be equal when you look at who played who?
It clearly won't be equal, but I do bristle at the notion that it's impossible to evaluate teams with advanced stats and the eye test together. We've been doing it for college basketball for years, and it's not just the 12 and 13 seeds and that play-in 11 seed game that are quote-unquote the teams on the bubble. They're making, informed decisions for the seed lines from the 1 to 2, 3, 4 that are really positioned to make a run to the Final Four. And for the most part, I think because there's more external pressure to be transparent about why did you choose, this team or the other. Yes, these metrics can be a little bit subjective and they can change year to year. But by and large, I don't think that there's these huge travesties where they're totally missing. And to be honest, with the College Football Playoff Committee, there's only been 2 or 3 scenarios where I would even entertain flipping the 5 and the 4 team. So with that being said, I think even in a smaller, truncated schedule, you still have an opportunity for the cream to rise to the top. And honestly, for the committee, I think if they get the benefit of an undefeated Clemson, that's a no-brainer. If you get an undefeated SEC champion, that's 2 teams right there. So the work gets a little bit easier. I think the pressure is taken off of them to a certain degree. The only real question in my eyes is this the year for a Sun Belt team, a team from the AAC, Conference USA, if they were to run the table and look really good doing it, is this the year that they actually get a shot? Now that the Sun Belt has back-to-back wins or actually 3 wins in a single Saturday over power programs, all from the Big 12, does that mean that they can build on that momentum, potentially get a showdown at the end of the year between ranked teams to play their way in? I don't know, but I think it's good for the game. And honestly, Bino Cook used to say all the time, controversy makes the sport go around. It's not an effort to eliminate controversy. If anything, it's just to kind of have that calibrated madness. And I think if anything, they certainly have that in spades this year.
Awesome, Michael. Always appreciate you and your time, man. Thank you. Be well. We'll chat soon. We need more picks and insight as this college season progresses.
Last pick on my way out.
Yes.
I love Baylor. I think that line's totally off. The fact that Houston is only catching 4.5, given their defense, which was in the 120s against the pass last year, I think they're going to get shredded, and Dave Aranda gets a big win in his first game.
All right. Well, let me open the app real quick and make sure that I lock that in. Thank you, brother.
Take care.
You got it. Michael Calabrese at East Breeze on Twitter. Action Network Saturday Down South at SDS for Saturday Down South on Twitter. All right. We'll hit the U.S. Open coming up in 15 minutes with one of our own who's now out in Michigan. But something popping up on the diamond and a first for me. I'll explain that coming up. What are the odds? Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. It's presented by Cure Auto Insurance.
Friday and Saturday night, our 2020 iHeartRadio music.
2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay, so 2:30. Now, how long is the next break?
Radio and watch on the CW app.
The iHeartRadio. 4 minutes.
Okay, so if I'm going to break at like 36 or 37, we'll probably, wait a second, 4 minutes. If I break at 38, that'll get us back at 42.
Right.
And then you can just play the interview.
Okay, cool.
Does that work?
Sounds good.
Okay, excellent.
We've got roadwork both ways on the Schuylkill now. Eastbound Jan Gerard to University, only the left lane gets by. Westbound So University past south, only the right lane gets by. And the Vine Expressway westbound heavy A Street to the Schuylkill merge. Larry Tutela, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by CVS.
It's okay to do some things halfway, but not when it comes to managing your prescriptions. That's why CVS has a tool designed to look for ways that may help lower your prescription costs. Visit CVS today. Savings vary. Not all patients eligible for savings. Ask pharmacist for details.
It was nice seeing the teams back out on the gridiron for Week 1. To add to the excitement of Week 2, DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is bringing back their can't-miss offer. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all new users the chance to turn $1 into $100 when they bet on any team. That's right. You can place a $1 bet on any team. And if that team wins, you cash a cool Benjamin. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BRACE when you sign up. Pick any team during Week 2. Bet $1 on them and win $100 if they win. That's $1 to win $100 when you use promo code BRACE during sign-up. For a limited time, only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. Eligibility restrictions.
30 seconds.
For details, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Warning. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Inspiration is amazing. It can turn this into this. Put it all together, and you get something special. Views is putting it all together with a special price. 99 cents for a Views Alto Power Unit. Available in-store and at Views.com. Views. Charge beyond. Rate sale prohibited. 99 cents plus tax. Pod sold separately. Website restricted. Age 21 and over. Tobacco consumers.
All right, we'll be quick here and end the show with Brendan Quinn, who's going to join us from The Athletic, from the Action Network to The Athletic, and talk about the U.S. Open, all of the odds that are best served for you as a sports bettor heading into the U.S. Open tomorrow. He's from Philly, out in Michigan, so thought we would at least remind him of what home is. And you'll hear right away that Philly accent doesn't go anywhere, no matter where you are around the country. I felt like a kid today for the first time in a long time. Not like running around free, oh, I'm a kid, but it reminded me of having a very limited palate. When you're a child, you really do, right? You know what you like, and that's what you want to eat. And I'm 42, so a child for me could be like 8 years ago. It's still very fresh in my life. But you get hung up on your eating habits, and you don't want to try new food. Sometimes it's because of the person who's trying to get you to try new food. I'm not listening to anything they say. Forget it. Could be, all right, here, try this chocolate. Still, no. Other times it's you have this preconceived notion of what something tastes like ahead of time, and you're just like, man, I'm never eating that. And I say that, I've said that, I'll probably continue to say that about stuff, and I'm picky with food. I'm not a problem. Like, you can take me out to eat and I'll order stuff off the menu. I'm not asking people to remove this or can you just replace that or anything to that level. And if that's you, that's fine. My wife likes stuff specific to her, and that's great. We always make sure that we can get stuff along the line. It's fine. But I'm not, and the purposes of this example at least, explaining that I'm not as picky as that could be. And I tried something today, and I remember even my face as I went to grab it, and it was a burger. And I'm thinking, and just the face that I had probably brought me back to like 12 or 13 years old, where I'm at some sort of family dinner and there's something being cooked and then served by an aunt or, not an immediate family member in my house. And it's like, come on, you got to eat it. Don't be rude. Eat it. And I just know, like, come on, I can't eat this. I cannot eat this. How do I get out of eating this? And I had a Impossible Burger today for the first time. And I have to be honest, it was really good. I was blown away at how good it was. And I've always looked at these commercials and stuff and thought, all right, whatever. They're paid actors yelling and screaming about how amazing this is. But grilled them up, put them on a bun, put some cheese. I don't know how much that defeats the purpose or not, but they definitely went on a bun, and there was definitely some cheese on that sucker. But and look, this is a pretty big step for me. Not that I eat red meat every night or anything like that by a mile, but to venture on into the plant-based meat and the plant-based burger is definitely not something that was predictable in this household. I can guarantee you that. But I'm amazed at how good it was. And it wasn't like, okay, I got it down. Now where's my drink? Give me my vodka, give me my Gatorade, give me my water, whatever it is. It wasn't like I needed to douse it with Tabasco sauce or hot sauce or anything like that. It was actually pretty good. I mean, all I did was just throw it on the grill, cooked it for as long as it told me to cook it because I didn't want to do it like a real burger and burn anything. Flipped it, put it on a bun, sprinkled a little cheese on there. I'm weird. And then from there, I just had that first look of, do I really want to do this? Where when you bite into something that you've already had this preconceived notion about, it's just not going to be good. And you're going to wind up like throwing up or just dry heaving and just having this bad taste in your mouth for the rest of the night, or you're rushing to get some sort of liquid. Give me something. Give me something. This is terrible. This is terrible. I was blown away. Wasn't even like I tolerated it. Just absolutely really good. I would say that. I don't want to go too strong on it in case I try it again and it takes a step back. But I definitely ate it. That's for sure. And I was pretty proud of myself because going into it, I've passed it over at the market many a times, being like, nah, why even go through that dance? I'll buy it. It'll sit in the shelf there on the fridge. I won't eat it. I'll toss it. Why even waste the money? Why go through that dance? This time I thought, all right, let me just see what it tastes like. Like, what's the worst it could taste like? I've had, before they became big and they were just coming out, before they had really done a number with how these things taste. I've had like a veggie burger before, but I mean like the old school ones, and they don't taste good, at least in my opinion. So I was kind of expecting that, but very surprised with it by all means. Speaking of surprise, transition here. Tiger Woods, how big of a shock would it be if he actually makes the cut? We'll explore that next. U.S. Open coming up. What are the odds? Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented by Cure Auto Insurance.